Hey, this is David Miller with the Miller Group of Keller Williams Realty, and I'm here to help you get real estate smart. All right, so 6 months into the year, 6 months to go. I always do my predictions at the end of the year, which I did, but it's been crazy the past couple months. So I wanted to update my predictions for the rest of the year. How is the pricing going to be affected? How is the inventory going to be affected with the higher interest rates? So I'm going to be talking through all that. So hold tight. I'll be right back. All right. So, in real estate, we go through phases where the market is pretty steady for a certain period of time. I remember when the market finally turned back in 2011. When I would do my monthly updates, it was pretty boring because it was the same thing as the month before and the month before and the month before. And I was starting to see that happen again in about 2017 to 2020. Same thing again, same thing again, same thing again. Well, COVID hit. Obviously, that changed everything. And then when COVID hit, for about a year and a half, it was about the same thing. There's not a lot of inventory. Prices are taking off. Well, there's something going on right here, and it's something that's really big. So I wanted to update you as your local market expert on what I feel is going to happen the rest of the year with the market. And I'm going to start with interest rates because everybody knows about interest rates. They have gone up. As you know, inflation is crazy right now, and the Fed is trying to control that by increasing the interest rate that the banks charge each other. Now, that does affect the interest rates for the mortgage market, not directly, but it does indirectly. So because of that, the interest rates for loans have gone up to about a high 5, low 6. They were up to, I think, 6.125. They're down to about 5.8. That's crazy. That's the highest quarterly increase in 28 years. They were in the high 2s before, if you remember. But in any case, the interest rates have gone up, and I expect them to continue to go up. Not as dramatically as they have in the last quarter, because I think a lot of that has already been accounted for, but I do know that the Fed said that they're going to have 7 rate increases this year. The last one they had was at 0.75%, and that put a shock wave into the market there. And I'm talking about the market in general, not the real estate market. So here's my prediction for the interest rates. By the end of the year, I expect us to be anywhere between 5.5 and 6.5. So I don't expect it to go up too much higher because I think that's already baked into the numbers that we have right now, but that is what I'm expecting. So how is that affecting the market? Well, we talked about this in my last monthly update, but it's affecting the demand for the houses. And it's mostly affecting the first-time home buyer market, okay? It's affecting the millennials that are the biggest group of folks in the market right now that are at prime buying ages to buy properties. And they were right on the verge to buy a house, but now they can't afford it. Well, why can't they afford it? Well, for every 1% rate of increase in the interest rate, you can afford 10% less house. So it's gone up almost 3%. So they can afford 30% less house, which wouldn't be too bad if the prices of homes weren't so high. So if you combine the house appreciation with the high interest rates, then you get into an affordability problem. So it's a major problem for first-time home buyers that are trying to get into the market. Now, for folks that are move-up buyers or folks that are maybe wanting to downsize, it's not going to affect them as much. Now, what we're seeing, as I mentioned, we would see is when they jumped up so high, it does shock the system and it has people to sit back and pause. And they pause and like, holy cow, these are a lot higher than they used to be. But what happens and what we're starting to see happen is that the demand is still coming back. It's still going in there. Not as strong as it was before, but it's still out there. Matter of fact, pending sales last month nationally actually went up 1%. And that was after 6 months of straight declines. So as you can see, the market is pretty resilient. Now, let's look at the leading indicators, because I like to look at those because that's going to tell us what the future is going to provide, and that's what I'm doing for you. So if we look at mortgage applications, so think about this. The refi market is dying right now. It's about 80% lower than what it was the same time last year. And the reason being is that the rates are so high. So who wants to refinance to a higher rate? That's why you're seeing a lot of news out there that a lot of lenders are laying off a lot of their employees because they just don't have the business to support them anymore. Now, mortgage applications are down about 24% versus this time last year. So 24%, that's expected. That means that there's going to be less buyers in the marketplace. Okay. Now, how is this all going to affect the inventory? Well, the inventory is still very low. We're at about 1 month of supply. Remember, anything below 6 months is a seller's market because there's more buyers than sellers. So 1 month is an extremely strong seller's market. And that's even after the inventory going up 44% last month. Now, the new stats are going to be out in 2 weeks, so I expect that to continue to go up. That's not a bad thing. As I mentioned before, we need more inventory. We need more inventory. And that's actually going to help the market. So my prediction by the end of the year is I expect us to have about 3 to 4 months worth of inventory. I do expect the inventory to continue to go up, which is good. We need that. But 3 to 4 months is still a seller's market and still a pretty strong seller's market. The only difference we're seeing right now when we're putting houses on the market that are priced right and in good shape, you have to make sure you do that, is that they, rather than getting 10 offers, maybe they're getting 5 offers. Rather than going under contract in 4 days, maybe they're taking 10 days. So that's still not normal. It typically takes about 30 days or so, but we're still in a very strong seller's market. So how is this going to affect pricing? Is my house going to appreciate? Is the market going to pop? Is the pricing going to drop? The only thing that's going to drop pricing wise is the rate of appreciation. The rate of appreciation is ridiculous right now. It's about 25% year over year. That's not sustainable, and that will drop. So I do expect with demand going down and inventory going up, that rate of appreciation is going to drop as well. That does not mean that the pricing is going to drop. I do not expect pricing to drop at all this year. But I do expect by the end of the year that we're probably going to have a year over year rate of appreciation down to around 10% compared to 25%. So what does this mean to you if you're a buyer or a seller and you're thinking about making a move? Should I wait? Should I do something now? Should I do it later? What would you recommend? So here's my recommendation for you. Sellers, if you're thinking about selling your house, this is the time to get off the fence and make that happen. This is why. Right now, because the inventory is so limited, you might be the only house that's on the market in your neighborhood. But as the market continues to scale up, or as the inventory starts to scale up, that's going to change. And you're going to have competition. And the more competition you have, the less leverage you have as the seller. So if you are thinking about selling your house, everybody wants to sell at the top and buy at the bottom, as they say. And I would say this is a good time to get your house on the market, get it sold, especially right now because we're in the summer months and this is when the kids are out of school and this is when everybody wants to make the move anyways. Now, if you're a buyer, well, I don't know, David, you just said sell high, buy low. What should I do? Well, the market is not going to drop in the pricing perspective. The interest rates probably will, as I mentioned before. I don't think they're going to go too much higher, but that will affect the affordability even more. But the biggest thing you're going to find is that you're actually going to have properties to look at. Rather than racing back and forth to a property, it just hit the market, there's already a line of 20 people, you're not going to have that as much as you had before. So this is a good time if you were looking before to get back into the market. It's going to be more inventory to look at. It's still going to be competitive, but it's not going to be crazy competitive like it was before, that you had to give your firstborn to be able to purchase a property. So those are my predictions for the rest of the year, and I hope that you are now Real Estate Smart. If there's anything we can do to help you, please give us a call and we'd be glad to help you out. Have a great day.